Let's take a check on the way these two sides line up. The Saints first, the reigning champions of course. Stewart at fullback, Hoppy, Iro, Stankovic and Hall. Sculthorpe stand off alongside scrum half Paul Wellens. The forwards, Nicol, who's recovered from flu, Cunningham and Matautia, Shields and Furley in the second row, and Chris Joint is the loose forward and captain. And the bench is occupied by the tall man, Wayne McDonald, Tim Yonkers, Heath Cruikshank, and 20-year-old Dave McConnell, who will make his first team debut in this derby if he gets on. Coach Ian Millwood. Now Wigan, and they have Radlinski at fullback. Dallas, Renoff was a doubt, but he's passed a late fitness test. Johnson, their man of the moment. Carney, Johns and Lamb. Forwards, O'Connor, Newton, Cowie, Cassidy, Ferner and Farrell the skipper. And the bench occupied by Betts, Horton, Stevenson and Hodgson. Coaches Stuart Raper. So out comes Andy Farrell, the Wigan captain, leading his men out onto the field. Wigan, of course, sacked Frank Endicott in May. It seemed a bit harsh at the time, but if it all ends up with a lap of honour at Old Trafford, all the pain that's been suffered will have been well and truly worthwhile. And what makes them even more impressive, Wigan, they have won their last 4 matches away from home. It's a repeat of last year's grand final, of course, and between them, Wigan and Saints have won all 3 at Old Trafford. What price these two lining up again against each other on October the 13th. And out they come, the Wigan Warriors. On hostile territory, but with a huge army of fans behind them. And they've just caught sight of Chris Joint in the screen. And out come the Saints. Kieran Cunningham is staying. They'll also have Darren Albert on board next year from the Newcastle Knights. Anthony Sullivan will be released after a decade here. There is Cunningham, the man of the moment, just going through the screen. Their defence is a little bit leaky at times. That is a concern. But in Paul Sculthorpe, they have at the moment the form player of Super League 6. And Chris Joint leads his men out. Defeat last Friday at the Jungle ended a run of 4 straight wins. Well, this repeated the grand final. Kieran Cunningham up against Terry Newton, and Paul Johnson, of course, up against big Kevin Iro and John Stankovic. And Ian Millwood is the St Helens coach. He is waiting, of course, to get this match underway, but before we do, there will be a minute's silence here for the tragic death of the stadium manager here at Knowsley Road, Mr. Bill Holden. And as you can hear the ground announcer telling the crowd here, he was a devoted family man. He was a huge supporter of this club, and he died in tragic circumstances recently. And both sets of fans now will stand and observe 1 minute silence for, as has just been said, a great rugby league man. Well, the last-minute silence they observed here at Knowsley Road wasn't the best, but that was absolutely perfect. Match referee Stuart Cummings timed the minute. Now he has to time the 80 minutes that lies between ecstasy or sorrow for either of these two great clubs. It's Saints against Wigan. It's going to be Wigan who will get the ball rolling. They will kick off. The men in black will attack from right to left as we watch. Andy Farrell gets ready. The crowd is ready. Packed to the rafters here at Knowsley Road. Glorious summer's evening. Summer's returned. Here we go. Farrell with the kick-off. Wellens and Sonny Nicol will take the first tackle from Steve Renouf. Tingling atmosphere.
Wonderful feeling, always is, and good shave off there from Stankovic. But Newton clung on to him. So important these opening few minutes, just to get yourself settled into the game, the adrenaline pumping through the body.
It's the Saints who are in possession. This is David Burley. David Furner wrestles him to the ground with a little bit of help from Mick Cassidy. Cunningham to Paul Sculthorpe, and there's the dab over the top into the sunshine on that far side of the field. That's a good kick too. Will it stay within the field of play? No, it won't, because Chris Radlinski stands over the dead ball line and taps the rolling ball dead. So it'll come back for a tap on the 20-metre line.
Well, I guess tonight Tony Smith from the Huddersfield Giants made it quite important that the kicking out there could sway the game one way or the other. That responsibility obviously on Paul Sculthorpe. It was just a little bit too strong there, and Kevin Iro, he got a boot from Dallas right in the face. It was just an accident, but it felt it.
Second minute of the match, 0-0 between these two giants of the Super League, the two clubs who have contested each and every one of the grand finals we've had so far. That's the quality you're watching here at Knowsley Road tonight.
Be interesting to see how the Saints utilise their tactics. I think they'll try to play very tight down the centre, utilise the big forward pack, and then when they get the feeling for it, they then will get the three quarters into it.
This is the last tackle, and it's Adrian Lamb with the high kick. That will hang and hang. The Saints allowed it to bounce. It bounced off Stankovic's leg, I think, and Wellens tidies up.
Came off for a new slag, and Wellens in a good position. So important that the solid defence from either side is marshalled.
Steve Hall with a little jinking run, ended on the 40-metre line. Cassidy, O'Connor and Newton. Of course, Terry Newton, as Steve-O pointed out in the build-up to the match, he will want a big game tonight. Opposite this fellow, Kieran Cunningham, and here he goes. That's the first run from Cunningham from dummy half.
And we'll see plenty more of that, Eddie, that's for sure.
Last tackle here, and Sculthorpe. Newton was trying to track him down. The dab from Sculthorpe over the top. That's quite intelligent and really difficult for Radlinski and Carney. They got in each other's way, but Radlinski takes charge of the situation.
Hesitation there between the fullback and the winger Brian Carney, but Radlinski very quick to snatch it up. Obviously no one was shouting the Saints' mind either way. Radlinski took charge. Good job too.
Good play, Matthew Johns is spreading it wide. There's the first touch of the match for Paul Johnson, and Stewart got to him.
Big gamble there by Anthony Stewart. He came in tight.
Interesting, Paul Wellens has dropped back to full-back in the opening moments here, and Ian Millward, of course, makes his players move and change position all week in training. That was a little half break from Adrian Lamb, halted by the tackle of Sculthorpe. Last one, and the run.
Got to be a penalty, surely. Sculthorpe never made the 10 back in defence.
Cowie on the lash was trapped. He puts the kick in. It's not a bad kick either, and Hall collects it on his own line, then gives it to Wellens, and Wellens will bring it away.
Good work from Wellens there. It was a good kick too. Hall looking to offload.
Now Anthony Stewart on a diagonal run.
Oh, he big hit there. Tense moments for the coach Ian Millward. They always are.
Little note in the book for half-time. This is Sean Hoppy. Good run. Great run from Hoppy. Halted by O'Connor.
They paid the price, trying to go far too high on the New Zealander.
Stankovic to Cunningham. Cunningham, I suppose all it needs tonight for Cunningham and St Helens is a try. 4 minutes gone. Saints on the charge. Wide it goes, on the bounce and out.
Well, not the best pass, and relief on the face of Stuart Raper. Little doubt that Sculthorpe, as he so often this season, is controlling things out there, but not the best pass in the end. Splitting the centre and the winger. He's had a marvellous season.
Yes, he has. He must be a contender already for the Man of Steel award. Johnson lost that.
That'll be the scrum down on the very first run.
Well,
oh boy, that hurts.
Here we go. Scrum.
He thought he had Sculthorpe there, and then he just loses control of it.
Let's go.
Well, he really should have respected the football a little bit more than that. You could see he didn't have it close to his chest. It was away from him. And that's the reason why he lost it.
Cunningham feeds the scrum and he will go down the far side. It's with Iro here. Iro. Ball to the ground by Ferner. Here comes Matautia.
Far too many of these Wigan defenders going high rather than low. Someone's got to get the... It's a knock-on.
Yes, he dropped it.
Matautia is absolutely livid with himself.
He's got to control it, fellas.
You never control it. You just heard the referee Stuart Cummins saying that, but there was interference. It's always a 50-50 call sometimes for these officials. Millwood won't like that.
Well, Saints have won just one of the last 4 home Super League meetings with Wigan. Can they make it 2 here tonight? Cowie to drive it in. As we heard in the pre-match feature, this is Neil Cowie's last season in the game. He's retiring at the end of the campaign. Let's take a look at head-to-head, and as you can see, Wigan have an overwhelming advantage since 1973, and they do pretty well here at Nosey Road as well. Offside against Saints.
Farrell wants to get on with it. That's good thinking. They were stood around with the Saints defenders.
Adrian Lamb is dwarfed by the tackle of Chris Joint. Bradlinski to Ferner, and Ferner attacking them down that right wing. Good tackle by Sculthorpe, held down by Iro. Cowie, great screamer forward, it never was. Quick hands. That was Johns to Farrell, to Cassidy, to Renoff. Carney's with him. Got the ball away, and Saints had it back.
They've blown the opportunity. Renoff, he threw the dummy. He really should have gone straight towards the line and a quick play the ball. But good open play by Wigan, keeping the ball alive. Renoff throwing the dummy. Great work from Hoppy to come over the top.
Crowd here going mad because they believe Wigan were offside. Stuart Raper knows what it's like to win here at Nosey Road. Did so last time with Wigan just a few short weeks ago. They're still after the referee to blow for the offside, but instead the kick from Sculthorpe finds touch over on that far side.
Well, Stuart Cummins has been around long enough to not let the crowd sway his decisions, and you can see there that Rudlinski knew there was any chance of a 40-20. Big responsibility on the shoulders of this man, with the absence of both Tommy Martin and Sean Long, of course. But hasn't he settled in well into that standoff position, a position that I'm sure, Eddie, he'll take in the Great Britain lineup.
Well, you never know. Wigan in possession here with Cassidy. Great run from Cassidy, he's found a hole, and Renoff's with him. So too is Carney. Carney, but he's scrubbed to the floor by Wellens. Renoff's the dummy half. Here comes Newton. Newton's in. Newton's in for Wigan. The battle of the hookers. Cunningham against Newton, and it's first blood to Terry Newton. He was tipped to have a big game by his coach Stuart Raper, and Newton's come up with the first try of the night, his 11th of the year, and Wigan get the first 4-pointer.
Poor defence on the blind side. Cassidy took full advantage. You can see the big fella. Fairley really should have gone low. Carney did well, okay. It was a good tackle in the end. Wellens got to him, but they were always going to run out of defenders. And again, they went far too high. David Fairley, 2 mistakes. One with the build-up that made Cassidy made the break, and then he couldn't get to him. Shields over the top of him. What a good effort.
Well, he's been in highly impressive form since Stuart Raper arrived at Wigan. Hooker in every match under Stuart. Second row, of course, in Frank Endicott's final couple of matches in charge. And he's given Wigan a great start. Can Farrell improve it? Yes, he can. Andy Farrell. That's his 134th goal of the season. Super League's leading scorer. It's 6-0.
There you see, Fairley really should have gone low. Cassidy, not the fastest man in rugby league, but he was sufficient. See how Fairley just tried to grab his shoulder. He missed out Renew. Wellens got to him in the end, but quick play the ball. Look how Carney's struggling to get through. Bang, this is how hooker moves. They love nothing better than to score the 4-pointer. And every right to feel very, very pleased indeed.
So a 6-0 advantage for the Wigan Warriors, in possession here with Neil Cowie. The 16th meeting between the two in Super League. Wigan have won 9 and drawn 1. And they're ahead here. Cassidy, whose break created the try, halted that time by the tackle of Stankovic. Renoff only just passed a late fitness test here, but I bet they're glad he did, because Renoff is in great form as well. 9 tries in his last 8 for Wigan.
We'll be back to 6. Definitely came off. Hoppy.
And Radlinski has it and wants to attack from deep. It is back to 6. The referee wipes the tackle count clear. It will start again. And here comes O'Connor, got a terrible broken nose last time he was here.
Well, a real purple patch for the Warriors. They're allowing the ball to be moved around, and they're finding the gaps. Oh, he couldn't take it in. He was under a lot of pressure from Kevin Iro there, was the Australian Steve Renault. I think he just took his eye off the ball when the big fella went to him.
Wellens tidy it up. Steve Hall takes it forward. Cassidy halts the progress.
Ooh, that was a big hit there from Iro. Nothing wrong with it either. It was right across the chest.
Nicol, Ian Millwood was desperate for him to play. Said he thought it would be very physical early, and so it has proved to be. And Ferner claiming he was held by Nicol. That's why he couldn't get off the grounded player.
Well, experienced player against experienced player. We'll see whether that is the case. Well, no case to answer as far as I'm concerned, because the only arm that could have grabbed hold, Nicol was holding the football, trying to kid the referee Cummings, having none of it.
So Saints in good position here to attack this Wigan line. They're in possession again with Nicol.
They see the Wigan defence. See how they took the ball carrier onto his back. They're slowing things down there to Wigan. They'll do it again with a big fella.
Matautia drives it in. Saints now within 6 metres of the line. This is Sculthorpe. He gives it to Joint, and Joint gets over the line. No!
He couldn't get it down. This will be Hayden feed.
Let's have a look at that.
What great defence. The official will go to the screen, and rightly so. Watch how Radlinski and Newton stop this from being a try. Wonderful, wonderful defence. The Saints captain went ever so close. Newton and Radlinski get underneath him. That ball never touches terra firma. It's N-O-T-R-Y. Great relief for Wigan, I can assure you. Wonderful build-up by the Saints.
Here's the decision, and no try it is. But St Helens get the feed at the resulting scrum. So the first pressure, the first borders coming up over the ramparts, and they have been repelled by the Wigan defence. Can they stand firm again here? Matautia again. He stood tall in defence then, did Matthew Johns. Cunningham now.
Will they utilise the kick early in the tackle count?
That was David Furley. This is Paul Sculthorpe. He won't be able to make any more progress. We can turn him on his back.
They've got to produce something more than just one-out football, though.
Sculthorpe. Now it's with Peter Shields. Good defence from Farrell. Cunningham inside to David Furley. David Furley plunging towards the line.
Another great tackle from Newton. The hooky went low yet again.
Cunningham. Is it 1-1? No, held up again. Last tackle though this time. So it's the turnover.
Well, the dream nearly came true, didn't it? And again, Radlinski to the rescue. There's a lot of talk about David Way, the Great Britain coach, switching Radlinski from the full-back into the centres. I think it would be an absolute shame if he did that. Little doubt in my mind, Radlinski one of the best full-backs in the world, never mind just in Super League.
Terry O'Connor puffs those cheeks out, drives the ball in hard again.
Must be difficult as well, Eddie. You mentioned the fact that O'Connor, horrific broken nose, and yet he comes back for more pain, doesn't he?
He does. There's a knock on, and it's bounced kindly for Wellens. Wellens has slipped the net, and Wellens sees a gap and goes for it. If you play Radlinski full back in the test, where on earth do you play Wellens? Because he's a must.
Oh, great hit. Everyone thought it was a high one, but great work from Andy Farrell. But that was really stupid play from Matthew Johns. When they were desperate for possession, he tried to offload, which he did. And there was no chance his support could take it. It was Terry Newton, and they came out with a drop ball.
Here's Wellens again. Showed it to Matautia. Gives it to Sculthorpe. Great tackle, though, by Newton again. Matthew Johns was in there hunting too. This now is joint. On it goes to Iro. Iro stabs it, and it flicks off the heels of Carney. Now, will that be deemed? No, it won't be. I was going to say, will that be deemed an attempt by Carney to flick the ball away? But it won't be.
Well,
it could have been. He was looking at it. No, it could have been.
I'm not so sure. He turns his back here. He'd no idea. The ball played the man. Alex Ferguson might want to take a look at his ball skills there from Brian Carney.
Well, he was a Gaelic footballer.
Well,
Matautia goes off, and he will be replaced by Tim Yonkers.
Well, he had to look at the Irish there then.
He did. Well, listen, we're talking about the Ashes Tour. It's through October and November, club games, and of course the test matches between Great Britain and Australia, and it's on Sky Sports.
Sculthorpe has stolen the football.
Hoppy gets the ball away.
Oh, what on earth are they doing?
That was Peter Shields' pass and intercepted by Adrian Lamb.
Tit for tat. But it was good work from Sculthorpe. Steve Renouf went down into the half tackle, and he just scooped it away. By taking candy off a baby then, but Saints have given the ball back.
O'Connor and Farrell gobbled up by joint Newton, gobbled up by joint Nicol and Yonkers. There's Newton, the dummy half. Here is Cassidy. Good hit by Stankovic. Newton again.
Fair play to Wigan. They've been working hard to try to get just wide of the ruck.
And here goes Cunningham. It's Sculthorpe to Wellens. Wellens cuts inside. Took two to bring him down. There's Sculthorpe again. Little run from him. Fairley joins the action. He offloads to Cunningham. Cunningham will bring it this way to Nicol. Nicol will give it to Joint. Joint then gives it to Cunningham. They're running flat. They're waiting for the opening to appear. It might do here for Iro. Iro has got Hall outside it. Good tackle by Brian Carney. Hall at dummy half. This is out. Stankovic finds Cunningham. Cunningham back to Hall. It went backwards. Iro, they've lost so much ground there, the Saints.
Well, it looked pretty, but it really didn't get them going forward.
Stankovic again.
Oh, great defence.
Big hit by Ferner. Wellens. Sculthorpe with the kick. Chase for them. And he's come up with it, has he? And Shields come up with that. He certainly got it down. And he believes he scored.
Is there a knock-on in there?
No doubt about the grounding as far as I'm concerned.
Well, he's looking also for a knock-on and onside, offside, I think.
Well, there was a St. Helens man got to it before Shields finished up with the football. This will be interesting. He'll look to see if he's onside as well. Sculthorpe, beautifully timed. He was under no pressure. They allowed him plenty of room. Now then, did Stewart get to it? Certainly didn't. I think that Hoppy gets to the ball first, but I think Hoppy knocks the ball backwards, not in a forward motion. I think this is going to be a try. No doubt about the grounding. Hoppy got there first. I don't think there was any impedance. Dallas is not taken out. In fact, quite the contrary. Paul Johnson tried to put himself as a shield. And talking of shield, it will be the four-pointer. I have little doubt that those letters TOI will come out.
Well, Shields is 6'5" tall, and he deserved every one of those inches.
Oh, now then, is it a bobble? Oh, look at this. There's just a bobble. Talk about frame by frame. I might have to take the 9.5 shoe out of my mouth here.
Well, what's his decision? He's given it. Peter Shields gets the try. The St Helens fans with plenty to shout about. And he got the benefit of the doubt. The big, tall Australian, try number 6 of the year.
Oh, I thought, just for a moment, as we went frame by frame, Hoppy did well to flick it back. It didn't go far, but the big fella picked it up. But slowly and surely the video referee watched the frame by frame, just as we have. And he's been deemed to have grounded that fairly. Aren't they ecstatic? Game on.
Shields got a try last week against Castleford. 5 tries, or rather 6 tries now, and all of them coming in the last 9 appearances. We also got one against Wigan in June here. So Peter Shields, and now Paul Sculthorpe with the conversion to level matters, and he's kicking magnificently. Saint 6, Wigan 6, live from Knowsley Road. A repeat of last year's grand final, and it's going absolutely according to the pre-match billing.
Well, normally in the opening 10 minutes, both sides usually get all the mistakes out of the way, the pressure put to one side, and they get on with the game. But there was a period there for the last 5 or 6 minutes, Eddie, where both sides were desperate to keep the ball alive. It was panic football. Pressure here. Well, the crowd makes sure of that.
Wigan, of course, will go top of the table by 2 clear points from the Bulls. If they win here tonight, St Helens will close the gap on Wigan in second place if they win. And, of course, it's Leeds against Bradford tomorrow night at Headingley.
Of course, the Stuart Raper, the Wigan coach, realises that they've got to try to win by as many points. Not going to be easy here, Knowsley Road, but that points difference could certainly tell come to the end of the season.
Little flick off the boot by Cassidy. By Radlinski, rather. Radlinski will run the ball back. Great Britain, Australia then, the Ashes Tour. It's live on Sky Sports, October, November. The Great Britain manager, Phil Clark, is our man on the touchline. Midway through this first half, Phil, this is quality, isn't it?
Games like this are exactly the right sort of preparation with the Ashes coming up. Closely fought games with very skillful sides. I think Saints would be happier with the field position at the moment. Most of the game down in the Wigan half, whether they've had the ball or Wigan have. But if you think back to the last time we saw a game here, the only real difference was Andy Farrell's superior kicking. Here we see him passing the ball or running the ball. Great defence from St Helens on this side. They know really they must watch Farrell and run up on the left-hand flank.
Thanks, Phil. Well, we'll be following that Ashes Tour all the way through, and Great Britain against France forms part of the build-up to the Ashes series. We'll be across the channel for that, and we'll also have all the club games against the big guns of Super League, who will tangle with the Australians this autumn. It's something to savour after the grand final is done and dusted, and the grand final itself is big enough.
Well, a lot of the Wigan side caught offside, never made any attempt to get back to 10. And it is important, Eddie, because of these players need this intensity to get the feel for it, because I tell you what, it's going to be tough against the Aussies.
Here is an Aussie, David Furley, for St Helens, tackled by Cowie. O'Connor was there to help out as well. And Furley injured there, he felt that. Cunningham to Wellens, on to Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe showed it to Stankovic. Stands and attracts 3 to him.
Just notice the Wigan defence, they're hanging back slightly, they're just looking to see what Saints are going to produce. That could prove costly.
Here's Stankovic.
In the early part of the game, they were getting well and truly, they were getting out of the box early, getting into the face of the Saints, hanging back, you'll get
Great ball from Cunningham, Wellens! Wellens under the post! A bullet pass from Kieran Cunningham, and Wellens over underneath the sticks. Paul Wellens, another of the 34 names on David Waite's list that will take on the Australians at the end of the season. And Stuart Raper, having seen his side take an early lead, now sees the Saints ahead by 10 points to 6.
Well, they've paid that price for hanging back, not getting into the faces of the men with the football. Great pass. You see how they use Sculthorpe. There's a little bit of a dummy coming through. Cunningham over the back there. Bang. There was a huge gap there, and it didn't surprise me either. You cannot hesitate in defence against an outfit like St. Helens, the World Club champions.
And Paul Wellens, his reputation has grown and grown over the past couple of years. And I did make the point earlier on, if you do play Radlinski at full-back, where could you play Wellens? Well, you might play him alongside this fellow at scrum-half. You might play him on the wing. He is really a team of all talent, that young man, Paul Wellens. And here is another talented star, Sculthorpe, who slots the conversion over. We're 12-6 at Knowsley Road. The champions showing championship quality.
See how they're working off the ball. Sculthorpe and Nicol, they're the ones circled. Cunningham's pass out wide allows Wellens plenty of pace and space. They know how to bounce back, these guys.
And he enjoyed that, did Paul Wellens. 3 tries against Salford 2 weeks ago. Nicol then for St. Helens. Remember, no Newlove for the rest of the season, no Long for the rest of the season. Martin's out. Dwayne West is out, Mickey Hine is out. They have a problem in the backs. And of course Anthony Sullivan, the Welsh international, he's not fit to take his place in the side at the moment. So St. Helens doing it tough with injury, but it doesn't seem to matter, as we've said so often this year. Who puts the white jerseys on? They play great stuff, and they're coming forward again. This is Stankovic.
Well, Stuart Raper, the Wigan coach, has got to get the message out to his chargers to move forward and get stuck in the defence.
That's a great hanging kick. It was collected by Dallas.
That's a high shot as well.
Wellens the culprit.
Just had the arm over the top. First impact just on the top of the shoulder. It was always going to make the target, and that target was the face of the winger, Brett Dallas. And really, that will not please the Saints coach Ian Millward. They've given up a lot of meters there. They could have applied that pressure, twisted a little bit more, and maybe force a mistake and extend from that 12-6 lead.
It's now with O'Connor. Oh, Cassidy has dropped it.
It was an awful pass.
It's back with Iro.
He was flat, and it was St. Helens right in it, and this could be trouble.
Oh, we got it. Terry.
Referee will take the report from the touch judge. Terry O'Connor's the culprit.
Straight into the mush. Kevin Iro, who would not have seen it coming. It was a blindside shot. Watch. Turns his head. He wouldn't have seen this. Bang. Oh. He wanted to go for another one, didn't he? Tension, the pressure that this derby always creates.
St. Helens swinging the ball around. It's with Wellens now again.
They're working for each other in attack, though, on the Saints side. They really are helping each other. Again, we saw 2 dummy runners come through.
This is Nicol. Nicol turned his back and waited for the thump. It never came. And Nicol gets to within a metre of the Wigan line. Cunningham. Fairley's gone for himself. And the Wigan defence stands firm. Cunningham. Ball goes back. It's play on. And Wellens has come up in a second.
He'll go to the screen. Wasn't a knock on.
No, he won't. He's going to give this. Tries given. Wellens is second.
Oh, that's a big call from the official. It definitely did not go to hand. It came loose. bemused look on the face of Stuart Raper, and rightly so. This is a huge decision by Stuart Cummings. Controversy yet again. Would that be classified as going forward? You can't utilise the momentum rule. He loses it, perhaps. He's got it right. He had no doubt to the official. It comes out, the hands there of Joint. And was it short? I think it was short as well. Oh, the controversy will reign on two accounts. Was he short the first time? I think he was. And did he get the arm? Is it the end of the ball? He'd only have to touch the whitewash.
On the line is over the line.
He's having to work hard as the video ref tonight.
Why? He wasn't called on for that. Stuart Cummings made the call himself. The try is given.
We've got to blame somebody. Oh, a lot of controversy here surrounding that, though, Eddie.
Well, Sculthorpe here will try and add the extras. And I don't know whether Stuart Raper was that convinced either, but Sculthorpe has missed. 16-6, though. Saints have scored 3 tries in 10 minutes.
Worried look on Stuart Raper's face, and rightly so. Get yourself 10 points ahead. A big derby game like this. I've seen them being given as a knock-on.
On the line is a try.
Yep. But did it go short first time it hit the ground?
And the point of the ball.
Did his right arm actually force it? Did it slide down the side? Either way, it's in the papers.
It is.
Tomorrow.
It's a try, it's on the board, and Saints are ahead 16-6.
I bet you Stuart Raper wish that it was fish and chip paper instead, but it won't be. And as I mentioned, 10 points in this game at a vital time, just coming up to the half-time mark, and they are bossing it now, the Saints.
This is Sculthorpe. He's running the show.
But again, this Wigan defence hanging back.
Cunningham.
They've been mesmerised.
Back to Furley. On to Nicol. Turner is there. He got in his face that time. And Stevenson is on. Francis Stevenson wearing 17. It's the last one here for Saints. Sculthorpe again. Drop goal. He's got it. No, he's missed it.
Good option too.
Well, he knows how important the drop goal from Andy Farrell was last time that Wigan were here.
That is a good option. And it was only Terry Newton, perhaps, that applied a little bit of interference there to put him off.
And the referee was perfectly placed to make the decision on that.
Well, full credit to Cummings. He had no doubt, had he? Otherwise he dropped that. No.
Well, the crowd believed he did, but Stuart Cummings said he didn't.
It bobbled, didn't it? There, oh, he did drop it.
By the way, Paul Sculthorpe's last drop goal was in the World Club Championship match against the Brisbane Broncos.
And wasn't that a vital one-pointer?
Great ball from Lamb to Radlinski. There is Farrell, and there is Stevenson off the chest of Stewart. Back into the
back to
arms
6.
of Stevenson, and he's given it. Back to 6, Newton grabs it.
Newton didn't see the signal. Newton thought it was the last one, he went for the kick.
This is Dallas. This is Dallas still.
Newton will be absolutely bemused.
And Stuart Raper is absolutely furious. Here is Lamb. Back it goes. Good hands. Radlinski again. That's back to 6 again. Farrell. Farrell might not need the extras. Farrell. He's over the line, but he didn't make any attempt at putting the ball down.
He did the right thing. They'll get head and feet. Will Wigan more pressure? Well, Lady Luck certainly shined on the situation when Stevenson made the break. He tried to offload, and it came into a Saints player. Is he moving away? Well, he's deemed to be held up.
It's head and feet to Wigan at the scrum. This is Matthew Johns, and this is Lamb, and now it's with Radlinski, and the short ball to Johnson, and Wellens is there with Yonkers to claw him down. Quick play the ball, it's with Ferner now. Ferner attacking the Saints line, it's St Helens' turn to defend. Sculthorpe and Cunningham. Newton now fires the pass to Farrell, stripped out of his hand by Chris Joynt, and another scrum coming up.
He was getting chasey out there as well.
First one's off Chris Joynt.
Chris Joynt dragged it away, and he's deemed to have come up with a knock-on, and rightly so. Doesn't have to hit the deck. The mere fact that it's hit Andy Farrell's body meant that it was going in a forward motion anyway. Well, there's been some big calls, and Stuart Cummins has come up with them.
Who's in here?
And apart from maybe one, he's got them just perfect.
And here they go. They're trying to attack out wide with Lamb. Sculthorpe shot across there.
He run the angle, and they wanted someone messing around, holding him down.
Penalty against Sculthorpe.
Well, how many times have this Saints outfit given this Wigan side another set of 6? I think it's about 5 on the trot.
It's with Farrell now. The 33 minutes gone, and this now is Johns.
Great tackle from Joynt. They are throwing everything but the kitchen sink, and I tell you what, they've turned into plumbers of this Saints side.
That's Newton going for the line. Another great piece of defensive work from the Saints. And another penalty under the sticks. Somebody could be on his way to the bin.
This has got to be some sort of a record. The amount of times, consecutive times, that a defensive side, and they'll take the 2 points. Farrell knows that this is important. Little doubt he was all over him.
Desperate defence from Ian Millwood's side. Desperate attack from Stuart Raper's men.
Get there on time.
Well, Raper knows that they got away with it. It was back to 6, and Terry Newton, the hooker, didn't realise. He put the kick in. Fortunately for him, it ricocheted off a Saints player, and they got possession back.
And they've got 2 points from the resultant penalty there, on about the 5th or 6th set of 6 that was called against the St Helens defence. 16-8. That's respect from Wigan. They had St Helens on the rack defensively, but they took the 2 on offer.
Well, I think Ian Millwood would be quite happy to have conceded the 2 with the amount of possession. And I'm sure that all the anoraks around the world will be looking through their books and saying, that is a record of turnovers. Back to 6. Oh, that's out in the full.
It is on Sculthorpe's right boot.
That's not what the doctor ordered.
So there's going to be more pressure coming in on St Helens here.
Big mistake.
That wasn't even close, was it?
Far too strong. Well, they can soak it up. They know what it's all about. Remember, they did it against Brisbane. They've done it so often, haven't they? Especially in the last 2 seasons, this Saints outfit.
And they have to do it again here. This is Stevenson. That's a big hit by Cruikshank. Terry Newton. Lamb. And Farrell, it went over his shoulder and forward. Yonkers had it back for Saints. And now Wigan have turned it over.
Well, the build-up was good. The angle that Farrell was running was also good, but the pass, not so. He knew exactly what he was doing. That is a planned move, apart from the fact the ball went behind him. Well, you've got to praise this St Helens scrambling defence. They just would not give in, would they?
And they're so quick at turning defence into attack. And here they go now with Cunningham up the middle. Stevenson and O'Connor got to him. Yonkers, Wellens, wide it goes, Sculthorpe, further wide then. Shields, good tackling by Johnson. Stewart the dummy half. Sculthorpe here, a dab across the face, it bounces up and over and dead.
I think he lunged for that.
It's a drop out underneath the sticks coming up.
Definitely lunged. The man played at the ball. Yep.
Francis Stevenson it was.
Certainly went, stuck his right boot out. Well, end-to-end stuff, isn't it?
And this crowd enthralled here at Knowsley Road. Big crowd tonight. Glorious summer's evening. Glorious match. Wellens gets its second attempt. Tips the ball inside. Cruikshank will run it in.
Woof.
The pace is unrelenting. We've got little more than 3 minutes to the half-time siren. Yonkers still. Good ball, Furley. On it goes Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe cuts inside.
Well, I don't know about these players. I'm absolutely exhausted. This, again, has been a classic.
Cunningham, good ball, Furley pops it up to Wellens. The lad's on a hat-trick. Good tackle, Radlinski.
Still going too high, though.
Here's Joint, Stankovic. They flick the ball around, it's great to watch. Iro, still Iro. Iro! Such strength, it takes three to stop his progress. Former Wigan man, of course, Cunningham. That's Sculthorpe, that's a try!
He's got it down all right. Great strength.
Sculthorpe with a try.
Wonderful strength there.
Paul Sculthorpe, try number 19 of the prodigious season. 400 career points plus now, 180 odd of them since May of this year. Paul Sculthorpe is having the year of his life.
Far too many in and around that play the ball area. And they went off the line. David Furner goes into no man's land. Can't get a shot on him. Johnson tried hard, but the skills of Sculthorpe come to the fore yet again. If you're going to go out of the one line of defence, you've got to go as a unit, and you've got to make sure you take the man. They failed to do it.
Yes, he got the draw at Wigan in April. He's come up with an absolutely vital 4 points here. And this team of back-to-back Super League champions, World Club champions, Challenge Cup winners, of course. They've got every trophy in the game here at Knowsley Road at the moment. And in Paul Sculthorpe, they have the jewel in the crown. He's added the extra two. It's 22 points to 8. 6-0 down after 8 minutes. Saints then got going.
Typical example there. You see the second row of Furner coming out of the one line. You've got to move as a unit. You've got to make sure that you hit the man. Johnson tried, but he was too late. They are just killing this Wigan outfit just wide of the ruck.
Paul Sculthorpe in form again.
Right, no penalty.
Tell you what, Steve-O, on this form, it would take a brave man to bet against Saints winning the grand final again this year, from whatever position they finish in the 5. We're in the last minute. And they're coming forward again with Hoppy. Sean Hoppy making his 50th start for St Helens tonight. Plays the ball to Cunningham. Here's David Furley. They're hunting more Saints in this last minute. The tackle was from Francis Stevenson. Cunningham's going to have a run at them. Here he goes. Flick ball out the back door. Cruikshank. Newton had him. Last one. It's a drop goal from Sculthorpe. It's charged down by Stevenson.
It's all on.
Back to 0. Saints have 6 more, but they don't have that much time. But here goes Wellens. They're hanging off them.
And that has been their problem for the latter part of this first half. They are paying St Helens far too much respect.
Another drop goal attempt from Sculthorpe, and that one sliced. That's the half-time siren. It hasn't come quickly enough for Stuart Raper. Ian Millwood will be delighted. 2 tries from Paul Wellens in that first half. Either side of the 2, one from Shields, one from Sculthorpe. Newton with the try for Wigan. Farrell with the penalty goal and a conversion. Saints in the ascendancy here over the old enemy at Knowsley Road. The champions are ahead by 22 points to 8. Big crowd, big match, big plays. 22 points to 8. The champions showing their true colours. They lead at half-time.
There's even more live football coming our way next season. An extra 6 Premier League games. That's 66 games in all. Live and interactive, only on Sky Sports. And that's not all. There's even more live games with Premiership Plus. An extra 40, yes 40 live matches on Sky Box Office. You can enjoy these extra games with the Premiership Plus season ticket, available now for just £60. That's £1.50 a game. A special price if you're a Sky Sports subscriber in a Sky Digital home. For full details and to buy your Premiership Plus season ticket right now, call 08705 160 160 or tune to channel 433.
Can I get you a drink, Pet?
Strongbow pint. Ah, loafing juice.
What do you want? Go on, naff off.
She had beautiful, long, golden hair all over her body. Then one day, I catch her in another guy's basket. I wasn't going to argue. He was a boxer. All she said was, "What'd you expect? I'm a bitch." I guess some folks just got no breathing. But hey, that's life. That's what all the people say.
Smirnoff made pet food.
It's worse than we thought. You'll have to use the probe. Now go under the rim. Weeks of dirt and grime. You'll need new Harpic Power Foam, our amazing new cleaning system. First it clings, then expands, so you can clean the rim and the whole toilet effortlessly.
New Harpic Power Foam, expert cleaning power.
And now, to tackle the buildup of limescale in those inaccessible areas below the waterline, Harpic brings you new power tablets, eliminating limescale completely. Harpic, expert cleaning power.
G, a wind 'em in your hand. U, to please your oral gland. M, how far will you go? Always good anytime. G, forever in demand. U, found all over the land. M, you can eat them anywhere. Always gonna taste so good. Hey, hey, hey! Goodies, goody goody gum gum. Goodies, goody for you. Maynard's goody goody gum gums.
It's always difficult to end a relationship, especially one that's lasted for so long. But there comes a time when you just have to be brave and make that call. Hello? Yeah, is that the NHS smoking helpline?
Need help giving up? Call 0800 169 0169.
Two more great games lined up for you tomorrow here on Sky Sports from the great world of rugby league. In Australia, it's the West Tigers against Newcastle Knights, 10:30 in the morning, Sky Sports 2. And then on Sky Sports 3, it's Leeds against Bradford. That's another corker from the Super League. It's live at 6 o'clock on Sky Sports 3. But here at Nosey Road, we have quite a game on our hands, and St Helens are ahead. But this is the Wigan dressing room. And after a great start for Stuart Raper's men, it all went sadly wrong. And 22 points to 8 is, by the way, the scoreline that St Helens beat Wigan by in the Challenge Cup tie in February, the very first competitive match of Wigan's season. But the Saints, well, they're not World Club champions, they're not back-to-back Super League champions, and they're not Challenge Cup holders for nothing. And it's been a brilliant comeback from a 6-0 scoreline, 22 points to 8 they lead. There are the details. Paul Wellens with 2 tries, what price him getting a hat-trick in the second half. Well, there's an old saying, isn't there, in life, he who hesitates is lost. And the Wigan defence has been hesitating somewhat in that first 40 minutes. And really, Tony Smith, who's our guest here from the Huddersfield club, that's the reason why Saints are ahead. Wigan just hanging back in defence.
Yeah, they have. They've misnumbered a few times there and actually shot up out of the line and gone to nobody on occasions. And the Saints have got good enough players to read that sort of play. So, yeah, they've been under a lot of pressure, Wigan. Far too many lost balls for Wigan.
And Paul Sculthorpe, immense, isn't he?
Yeah, I thought Sculthorpe and Cunningham both took control of the second half of that half. and showed their class. Their combination together close to the line is just deadly.
Early in the match, it looked like it was going to be Terry Newton's night, Steve-O. He got over for the first Wigan try, but since that moment, really, Saints rolled their sleeves up and really got stuck in.
Yeah, it shows that they never sure throw the towel in, do they? And as Eddie has mentioned, that it looked as though it's going to be all Wigan. They were taking control of the game. They had first of the many breaks that came to them. The first coming from Steve Renaud for class, and it really should have resulted in a try. It was at this point that St. Helens were a little bit ragged. They were the ones that were hanging back. You can see there but it was a great tackle there from Hoppy. Hoppy coming over the top. And then this was poor defence by Saints. You'll see that Fairley is caught out there. Cassidy, not the quickest man in Super League. They did the right thing, missed out. Carney came through. And you could sense there that the St. Helens defence was all at sea, and not surprisingly, Newton in for that first try. They looked a bit bedraggled there at one point, did Saints, but then they started to come back into it, mainly due to the fact that I feel that this Wigan defence somehow was starting to be mesmerised by the situation. It was held up, it was good work by Newton and Redlinski to prevent that, but the kick from Sculthorpe was absolutely superb. Controversial decision from the video referee. A lot of people thought that Shields just lost it here, but it was given the benefit of the doubt, and then Saints just absolutely run Wigan ragged. Look at that. They were all expecting Cunningham to go from dummy half. There were 5 men in and around the play the ball area. Wellens in for try number 1 for him, and then came his second. Joint dropped the ball. Referee said it went backwards. And did he get it over? The edge of the ball was on the whitewash. That was sufficient. That was a try. And then again, watch how Ferner ran out of position. Johnson couldn't hold Sculthorpe. And really, it has just been an absolute devastation by this St. Helens side in the latter part of that first half. But if Wigan don't get their defence sorted out very, very quickly, I think they could be on the end of a very, very big score.
Take a deep breath, Steve-O. You're nearly losing your voice there. But as you said, Tony, in the first half, Saints won Wigan wagged, didn't they? They really did. They won them wagged.
They sure did. It's a funny thing for Wigan. Their offloads really hurt the opposition, but they didn't do it at the right times towards the second half of that half, and far too many errors, and I'm sure Stuart Raper will be talking about that. It's hurt them, and they've had to defend so much on their own line, so hopefully they can get some offloads going again and put Saints under a bit of pressure, turn it into a closer game.
Yes, it's all Saints at the moment in this match. They're ahead by 22 points to 8. Phil Clark is downstairs on the touchline. You wouldn't really have predicted this, Phil, I don't think, because Wigan, before this match anyway, they have come into this game with the best run in Super League of successive victories. But they're being knocked out of their stride, aren't they?
No, I wouldn't have predicted, but we all know how good I am at predicting the outcome of a rugby league game. Not the world's best. You talk about really the difference in the sides. No wonder St. Helens are doing so well. All the time they've been allowed down attacking on the Wigan line, and they're better than any other side at converting that pressure into points. But probably the biggest area that they need to try and control is St. Helens when they're coming away from their own try line. Late in that first half, Wigan kicked off, Saints received the ball on the try line, and within 3 tackles they were up over the halfway line, just unable to handle the go forward, as they talk about, of the St. Helens side. Too quick in the play of the ball, and when they allow St. Helens to play the ball quickly, that makes Kieran Cunningham even more dangerous than he normally is, and that's a real big trouble. Wigan need to certainly tighten up in defence, but a game of rugby league of this standard does tend to ebb and flow, and I think Wigan will get a chance certainly to put some pressure on the Saints side. We saw Saints defend well in that first half when Wigan did have an immense amount of time on their line. But can they get that time again and convert it into some points? They certainly need to turn it around. They need to get tougher in the forwards and somehow come to grips with this St. Helens side.
Thanks, Phil. Be careful, St. Bernard's looking for you again. I think you might have found him. He's looking at the stats on the computer by the looks of things. But I mean, it's probably an obvious thing to say, Tony, but Wigan have to score first in this second half.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of football left. I think there's scoring potential in both these teams. Both teams have got a bit of deficiencies in their defence, and I'm sure that each of the coaches are talking about that right now. But yeah, I think Wigan need to score next to give themselves a chance for sure.
Yes, a little confidence booster needed for Wigan, and you don't say that too often, do you, when you're talking about the men from the JJB Stadium. But they're trailing here at half-time by 22 points to 8. Phil Clark isn't in another costume, is he? Surely not. He's wandering off anyway, that fella. Going to take his place on the terraces, no doubt, for a gripping second half. That's all to come. The Saints are ahead here, and at the moment they are winning Wigan Wagged, 22-8.
With a remarkably low centre of gravity and the longest wheelbase in its class, the Ford car has incredibly secure handling. Stay glued to the road from £6,960, including 1 year's free insurance and 0% finance. The Ford car from just £6,960. Ford demands a closer look.
Just like me, they long to be close to you. On the day that you were born, the angels got together and decided to create a dream come true. So the sprinkle moon dust in your hair, gold starlight in your eyes are blue.
Oh no, look at his back! Look at that, that's not you! Let me have a look.
Starting in tomorrow's Mirror, an amazing music offer. 7 CDs absolutely free. Tomorrow, Travis. Sunday, Stereophonics. Monday, Shaggy. Tuesday, Gabrielle. Wednesday, Stereo MCs. Thursday, Martipello. Friday, Feeder. Get a free CD every day for a week, starting only in tomorrow's Mirror.
G, a wine in your hand. U, to please your oral gland. M, how far will you go? Always good anytime. G, forever in demand. U, found all over the land. N, you can eat them anywhere. Always gonna taste so good. Hey, hey, hey! Goodies, goody, goody, gum, gum. Goodies, goody for you. Maynard's goody, goody, gum, gums.
Right on target. Just for men hair color targets only your grey hair. Replaces it with subtle tones, like your own natural color. All in 5 easy minutes. Right on target. Just for men, targets only the grey.
Hello there. Now, I'm sure you'll be wanting to fill in your tax return, won't you? If you get it in before the 30th of September, those lovely tax people will calculate your tax for you. So go on, fill it in, and go on. Go on, go on. Go on, go on, go on, go on, go on, go on, go on.
On this week's new episode, we spend 24 hours with Rep Michelle.
Life back home is easier than this.
And meet the ex who still rocks her boat.
I won't deny the fact I've still got feelings for him.
Liz and Tigger go head-to-head when Liz gets temporary promotion.
Something very, very minor got blown out of proportion.
I do find it hard taking orders.
And Tigger gets pushed too far.
I reckon I'm a bit of a power freak deep now.
I'm having this much fun! Reps and Ibiza, Sunday at 10, Sky 1. Sky Digital viewers can interact with the show via their remotes.
Well, there's 35 hours of live action coming up here this weekend on Sky Sports, including a great football lineup. Tomorrow morning, there's a new season of Soccer AM, followed at midday by the Women's FA Charity Shield, live from Highbury. 2 o'clock, it's Soccer Saturday, the fastest football results service in the land. And at 5:30, live football from the Scottish Premier League, Dunfermline against Rangers. And on Sunday, of course, we have the FA Charity Shield between Liverpool and Man United. It's live from 1, Sky Sports 2. Interactive coverage available Sky Digital viewers on Sky Sports Extra. And it's followed at 4:30 by our weekly Bundesliga match. This week it's Borussia Mönchengladbach taking on Schalke. It's live on Sky Sports 2. So the soccer season's back with a bang. Super League has never gone away. And at half-time here, it's 22-8 to the champion St Helens over the old enemy, the Wigan Warriors. Big job for the Wigan supporters to do now. They are at the back of their heroes for this second half. They have got to get behind them and their coach, Stuart Raper, because unless they do score first, Steve-o, I can see Saints winning this by a country mile.
Well, as you say, if Saints do get off to that start, then I'm afraid Wigan's defence will just fall apart yet again. It's amazing. They were in full control of the opening 15 minutes. It was St Helens that was struggling to try to get themselves sorted out, but once they did that, it was though they'd all turned into magicians, and the Wigan defence just hesitated. Let's see what they're going to do. I tell you what the Saints did. They ripped them apart, and I cannot see Wigan getting back unless they scored in the opening 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, we shall see. And it's Wigan who have first use of the football, and Francis Stevenson drives it in hard at Chris Joynt. And look at Wigan, they've upped the tempo right away. They know that they must score first. That's Terry O'Connor. Terry Newton waits at dummy half. It's with Matthew Johns. It comes wide to Paul Johnson. Johnson had Hoppy on his back. Gets to the halfway line.
Well, this Wigan outfit realised, Eddie, that to lose against their opposition, St Helens, is bad enough by just a couple of points, but to get a real drubbing, that's an embarrassment, I can assure you.
Joynt was hanging on the ankles of Adrian Lamb. Newton's the dummy half. Farrell spins the ball out wide, and predictable screams it forward. This is Carney, and Carney dabs the ball too deeply towards the in-goal area.
Bit of a wasted effort there.
He went herring after it himself.
First time we've caught a glimpse of Brian Carney in full flow. That's what a good job this St Helens defence has done on virtually all the Wigan outfit.
This is Hoppy. Cassidy with the tackle. Now we'll see just how eager Wigan are in defence now. Sculthorpe again being allowed to run, taking on Stevenson and Cassidy again.
Been a great ploy by the St Helens coach Ian Millward, because they've shared...
Offside, are they? No, they didn't stand square. Wigan not standing square at the play of the ball.
Just getting back to that, is that the St Helens side, they've shared the dummy half position. It's not Cunningham there all the time. Everybody's moving in.
Crowd noise goes up a few decibels. They know St Helens are looking for the quick kill here. It's with Peter Shields. No, it wasn't. It was David Furley. This is Sculthorpe. He finds Joynt. Joynt! He didn't ground it.
Couldn't get it down.
The referee was on the blind side.
The ball, we're on second tackle, I think.
He was on the blind side. He's called for the video referee. He's called for the video referee to adjudicate. The ball wasn't grounded.
But again, we saw a weak defence from Wigan. It's as though they were in leaden boots tonight. Doesn't get it down. He's short there. And then when he thought about it yet again. So this will be...
Head and feet to Saints.
Well, he hasn't lost it, has he?
No, but he's going to rule hold up, I bet. Because he's over the line now. Or is it going to be play on from there?
Well, it should have been. I don't think he was over the line.
Well, the players have lined up for a scrum, and now they're going back towards the line. So Stuart Cummings looks as though he's called them all back.
Yeah, it's just to play the ball. Has to be. They pushed him back. So therefore he's in the field of play.
Yeah. Players of both sides have lined up for a scrum.
And once again, Stuart Cummings has got it right. Well, I don't know why there's so much delay.
Well, it's the second time that Chris Joynt has been denied by the video ref, I think. No try on the second tackle.
Well, wait on the whistle. Wait on the whistle.
So the tackle count continues because Joynt was in the field of play. And here is Wellens, on to Yonkers. He goes round Lamb, but he can't get away from the next three. Cunningham is there at dummy half. Here's Wellens again. Wellens looking for the hat-trick. And he's held up just short. St Helens so close with Cruikshank. Heath Cruikshank. Dennis Beck's there, Radlinski there, O'Connor there to haul him back. And Beck's on for Matthew Johns. That's a blow for Wigan. Sculthorpe juggles, stabs the ball. And no one was chasing. Radlinski mops up for Wigan.
Well, his fellow players just didn't read it well there. Sculthorpe putting the kick in, but no one had advanced forward.
This is Brian Carney for Wigan. Let's take the opportunity to get down to the pitch side and see what was said in the dressing rooms at half-time. Bill.
Eddie, as you can imagine, Stuart Raper, the Wigan coach, not happy with that first 40 minutes from his side because they really didn't do the basics right. And the message from the Wigan coach at half-time was that they've got to get the fundamentals of the game right before they do anything else. Tackling poor, go forward poor, options poor. That was the message from Stuart Raper. Plenty of room for improvement for Wigan, though, and Saints know that they can't play as bad as they did in the first 40 minutes, and they're anticipating a Wigan fight back. Ian Millward, the Saints coach, delighted with that first 40 minutes. By contrast, Saints did everything right, took their chances, completed their sets of 6. He wants the same again.
Yes, a fine first half for St Helens, and much improvement demanded by the Wigan coach. This is Steve Hall.
Well, we just saw a high kick there from Andy Farrell, but there was no real chasers putting the pressure on Anthony Stewart. With all the time in the world to take it there. And that's been the difference between the sides. The aggression, the will to work for each other has been excellent from Saints. Can't say the same about the Warriors.
Last one, it's a better defensive set this by Wigan. Sculthorpe, though, under pressure and hit a bit late by Terry Newton, but Dallas collects it on his own try line. And Dallas bringing that ball forward bravely. Cruikshank and Cunningham there, though.
Well, Bill spoke about the fundamentals and that St Helens are doing that to absolute near perfection. And again, we saw the kick and chase. So solid. Not many options being offered to this Wigan outfit.
Terry O'Connor looking to offload, but he can't because they've wrapped him up ball and all. Good defence on show now from St Helens. Newton to Lamb, wide to Farrell. Farrell steps inside and Matthew Johns off the field. He has an ankle injury, we're told. Wigan are over the halfway line. They're in Saints territory. Expect the kick here from Lamb. Jinked away from one, got the little kick in. Stevenson's hunting it. Stevenson took Wellens out. Wellens, though, has been judged to have knocked on.
And the knock-on came first, and Stevenson certainly had a grab. Plenty of verbals being handed out there too. There's a knock-on. Stevenson only was trying to stop himself, I feel. Lazy left arm, so no real intent there from the big forward.
Chances then for Wigan. In possession with Radlinski. Good defence, though, again from Peter Shield, from John Stankovic. It's now with Cassidy. Cassidy spinning, but gets the ball away to Lamb. Here is Betts. Betts ducks under one challenge, but can't get away from Shields. Newton was the dummy half. It goes to Farrell. Farrell's seen a gap. Anyone in support? He can't get it away anyway. Good defence again.
Well, O'Connor was there. Newton's going on his own.
Feeds the ball out. Fumbled, though, by Renoff. Ball gone to ground. Shake of the head from the Wigan coach. It's not going according to plan.
The option on the blind side. Good ploy. He should have taken that. I feel sure he would have scored there. Kevin Iro had committed himself early. Slightly uppish was the pass, but a man of his experience really should have pulled that in.
He's averaging 1 error per match. Tonight he's come up with 4, Steve Renoff. Prior to this match in fantastic form. 40 tries now in 51 appearances over the last 2 years for Renoff. But not really with the hint of a chance tonight. That's a good tackle from Radlinski on Iro.
The opportunities he's had, Eddie, I'm afraid he's come up with far too many mistakes. And that's more an aggressive defence.
Werner on Sculthorpe, yes. Hoppy. Newton waited for it. They've not made much progress the first 3. What can they do here? With Fairley. Another good tackle. Werner and Betts hunting well. Cunningham. Inside to Sculthorpe. He's gone for a 40-20 as Paul Sculthorpe. He's got it. What a kick. What a magnificent kick.
Basic rugby league football, but it's high quality. And that was an absolutely superb kick from Paul Sculthorpe. So important is the field kicking in this modern game, especially now the introduction of this well, new rule. It's been around for a couple of years now, but more pressure. They just get all the basics right, the Saints, don't they?
Referee not impressed with that scrum.
That's the problem. Had he got in, would have played on.
We saw last week, the first time, I think, in about 5 years, one against the head.
Nearly got another one then. This is David Fairley. Noticed a couple of times tonight, Kieran Cunningham has stood in at loose forward in the scrum when it's packed down.
Well, he stood outside. He was standoff at one point early in the game. As I mentioned, Ian Millwood, he just swings them all around. It's anybody that goes into the dummy half, forwards, backs.
That's a good tackle. Great tackle from Werner. Quick play the ball though. Here is Wellens. It's with Shields. And Lamb with the important tackle. To left though. Wellens. So close again. Werner and Lamb. Lamb having to do a lot of work defensively. Hoppy back to Sculthorpe. And a crossfield kick. It's an invitation for Steve Hall, this. He's got it, but he's found touch.
Now
did it come off run-off?
Did he play for it?
Yes, he did. It's head and feed Saints. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Raise the arms.
Well, not the best player. He's not having the best game, I'm afraid.
So more pressure on this Wigan line. Head and feed to St Helens.
Though we talk about pressure, there was a period just before half-time where Wigan had 6 opportunities and still couldn't score. That shows you the quality of this St Helens defence. They work as a unit so much.
He's
feeding the scrum now.
I was going to say Cunningham's going to feeding the scrum here.
Well, I think he's only going to go in the wing and the full back, and he's done the full 13.
And he's found Fairley. They're 5 metres away, St Helens. They've got a bag full of tackles left. It's with Iro. It's with Wellens.
But again, look at this Wigan defence. You know, what are the magicians going to pull? Will the Wabbit come out of the hat?
It might do. Iro. Hoppy. They forced him back, but Hoppy still hangs on. And they're only halfway through this set of 6. Here goes Cunningham. Flicks it back to Hoppy, who in turn flicks it back to Shields. On it goes to Iro. Well, they're mesmerising Wigan's defence. They're having so much time to decide what to do. It's Sculthorpe.
But you get the impression that Ian Millwood, the Saints coach, will find them if they get caught playing the football.
Here's Chris Joint. Tackle is held, and so this is the last. Now, is there a kick here? Stankovic. Well, it was the right schmozzle.
Played the ball
forward.
Allowed to do that and moving off the mark. Well, all that for note.
I don't think he meant to play it forward. He flicked it with his toe and knocked it forward as the toe came back.
But it's against the rules. In relief for the Wigan Warriors.
Bit like I saw a golfer the other week, Steve-o, take a divot out of the bunker with his backswing. I don't think even you have done that.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you said you wouldn't tell on me.
This is Carney. Does well, offloads. Lamb to Werner. Johnson wants to fire. Is firing. Paul Johnson all the way. First try Wigan. Second half. Paul Johnson celebrates his contract. 12th try of the season. And he had a quiet match up to that point. But he backed himself down the wing, took them on out wide, and has come up with what could be a crucial score. Wigan aren't done yet.
Good effort by the centre, but he was helped a lot by the fact that Hoppy went ever so high. Carney took it up and had the ability to offload. And when the big fella got it, Hoppy really should have gone for the legs. He will take it though. A little bit more adventure from this Wigan outfit, and they certainly needed it. Keeping the ball alive, taking a leaf out of the St Helens book, and Hoppy knows he's come up with a big error. The Warriors are back.
And he's on a roll, isn't he, Paul Johnson, with his tries. The Saints supporters behind Andrew Farrell doing their best. He's a bit more experienced than that, though. And it's 22-14. The Warriors are back in the hunt.
Well, I just get the feeling that the tourniquet is off and that the blood is starting to run freely through the players' bodies yet again, because they were frozen for much of that first half, and this man Paul Johnson has given them the chance to get well and truly back into this game. And it looked to the point where St. Helens were yet again. Oh, dear me.
That was Chris Radlinski.
If he can come up with an error like that, it's maybe not Wigan's night.
Was he nutmegged? He was.
Yeah.
Sculthorpe's nutmegged Radlinski from 50 yards.
Can't believe that. Well, he's not actually bowling, and actually couldn't stop a pig in a ginnel, but he knows it's a bad mistake.
Oh, that's a real dropout.
Kick.
How about that? It was the second one from Wigan and Andy Farrell. And that was terrific. It means that St. Helens will begin this set from inside their own half. But just talking about Andy Farrell, that was an important kick. And it was from almost exactly the same spot you might remember if you were with us in June. The same spot as Paul Sculthorpe missed with the last-minute penalty that would have won the match for St. Helens. Farrell plopped that one over, and they're back here within 8 points of the champions.
But it's kicks like that that steadies the ship after a mistake. Radlinski came up with it. The fullback would give his captain a good slap on the back.
Cunningham to Wellens low down, on to Sculthorpe. He just pops it up to Yonkers. Yonkers thought about the pass, but...
Will they go for the 1 point? I think they may.
Sculthorpe's running it, and he dabbed it into the in-goal area. Lamb is there, clears up the danger, does well.
That surprised me. I thought Saints would have set up for the drop goal.
Here's Dallas.
Sculthorpe had 2 attempts in the first half, opted for the grubber through. Well spotted, though, by Adrian Lamb.
Get the feeling Wigan now have the sense of something. This is Carney. 15 minutes, second half gone. Ball's come free. O'Connor will drive it in at Stankovic.
Well, they found the key to success. Can they open the door? That's the big question.
Farrell taking them on.
Important that Saints don't give away a silly penalty here.
This is Farrell. They have men out wide. Stevenson, but Sculthorpe shot out of the line to quell the danger. That's the last. They're still not over halfway, Wigan. Now they are with Lamb, and the kick will turn Stewart around. It's going to be too fierce.
Nice option on the blind side, and he knows it too. But he wanted that just to bobble in the in-goal area.
Hall takes the tackle from Newton.
Again, we'll see St. Helens play safety-first football. Cunningham just controlling things from the dummy half. Nothing silly. They are the team in front.
O'Connor forced the error then. Did the ball go backwards?
Well, it did, but it really should have claimed it. That's back to 6. That was definitely knocked down by Betts.
And it is back to 6 with Wellens. The referee has wiped the tackle count down there. Simon Horton's there, by the way. He's missed the last 14 matches. That's the flap from Dennis Betts. And Fairley steps out of the challenge. He's got Cunningham. He had Cunningham on his inside. Nicol. Shields. Good tackling again by Adrian Lamb. Boy, he's getting through some work in defence tonight.
Well, is that too, Eddie? Because the forwards, they're not rolling the sleeves up. And we saw there, they missed yet another tackle.
Cunningham to Sculthorpe. Here's Wellens. And it goes wide to Iro. And the big man's away. So close. Wigan desperate to slow him down. They succeeded. Yonkers.
Oh, that was high there from O'Connor.
Stankovic. Nicol went backwards. That didn't. Play on.
Good referee in there by Stuart Cummings.
Stevenson has the ball back for Wigan.
Well, that surprised me that Saints played panic football there. With the commanding lead. The best pass. They got themselves in all sorts of trouble.
Here's Carney. Renoff into dummy half. Good work from Nicol around the play of the ball. He had flu all week.
Well, that's got to be a
he's got
penalty.
yes, they've got the penalty this time.
Well, it's just little things like that that can just allow Wigan to get more and more involved in this game. Little doubt the referee Cummings was screaming at Nicol, get off him, get off him. He failed to do so.
You get the feeling there is yet more drama in this match to come.
Fitness will play a big part as well. There's been some big hits out there.
Here's Neil Cowie driving it straight in, and Cruikshank, his first touch since he came on again. Newton, they're running the angles well. Lamb to Radlinski. Stankovic.
Great tackle.
Radlinski thought he was away. It's with Lamb. Here's O'Connor. On it goes to Betts. Veteran of so many of these derby matches, Dennis Betts. Wrestled to the ground by Peter Shields. Newton, the 10 metres away. The ball has come free. Werner has it. It's the last one for Wigan. Well, what was that? Just a dance of the dying swan. Newton, an awful kick. Really well read by Cunningham.
Well, Cunningham just had a big smile on his face there and looked at his opposite, Terry Newton, and said thank you very much indeed. Been a big week for Kieran Cunningham, and he got a real gift as a bonus then. It's so important that Wigan's defence just make sure that when it comes to the kick and chase from Saints, that they keep them back. But this guy will gain valuable metres forward.
Offloads brilliantly to Fairley, who's having another big game for St Helens tonight. Fairley will get to his feet. Cunningham, the man who made the break, is behind him. It's the last one, this. And there's Sculthorpe with the high kick. Stewart's on the chase. Dallas keeps his eye on the ball. Hoppy's palmed it back. A dump pass over the top.
Melvin McTow is allowed the knock on.
Turnover.
Well, again, panic stations when they kick to Dallas. They obviously feel that Brett Dallas is a problem with a high kick. But what great effort from this St Helens pack. They really have outplayed this Wigan 6.
And who is your man of the match? UK viewers 09009 1010 13. Our friends in the Republic of Ireland 1550 92 35 56. You have to agree with Tony Smith, Steve Owen, Phil Clark. And if you do and your name comes out of the computer first, 2 grand final tickets will be yours. You could be seeing these two at Old Trafford on the 13th of October. And it would grace Old Trafford again. Leeds, Bradford, Hull, London, Castleford, they might have something to say about all of that, of course.
Well, again, a panic pass from Steve Renouf. Carney couldn't get to it. Steve Hall snaps it up. Little doubt in the mind now that the big forwards will cart it upfield and then they'll go for the one. Sculthorpe, I'm sure, will be marshalling things out there.
Wayne McDonald does well, gets it away to Wellens.
What a game he's had.
He's been
everywhere.
with a tackle. Cunningham. They go to Sculthorpe via him to Yonkers. Here's John Stankovic.
Ooh,
it was high.
Right across the much.
They'll take the two. Yeah.
Clear, you've gone right over the shoulder. All right, it's malicious. Where you go over the shoulder? Gotta keep it down.
Here it comes. Right into the neck, under the chin. Not nice. Cheap shot. A costly one too. Now good shake in the head. They will just regain their composure now, will Saints. And this man realises the importance of these extra 2 points. It's been an epic, Eddie.
It has. This will just push St Helens a little further ahead, if Sculthorpe kicks it, of course.
And you could see the look of disappointment on the Wigan coach Stuart Raper's face, mainly due to the fact, Eddie, that this St Helens pack, they've just run riot down the middle. Yes. I thought they'd utilised the forwards a lot, but they've just absolutely hammered this Wigan 6.
So Sculthorpe with an important kick. Gap at the moment's 8 points. It will be 10 if this sails over. The lead is double figures, courtesy of Paul Sculthorpe. 3 tries for England against Wales not long ago. A certainty surely for Great Britain, and two coaches who are going through totally different emotions. But I feel there's a few more twists and turns yet.
It sure will be, but mainly due to the fact that with a commanding lead like that, so late in this game, you'd think, right, we'll just close it down, take our opportunities. But not this St. Helens side, not with a coach like Ian Millwood. They will keep trying something different, keep the ball alive. They're so great to watch. Look at this guy.
Cunningham. Involved in everything, inevitably, tonight. Wellens to Nicol. Tackled by Betts.
Well, all those people with patches on your elbows, eat your heart out. He's staying here. Oh, that's another one from Cowie. He could have been got for that one.
It's the last one. The tackle was on David Fairley. There's Cunningham. And there's another high kick to test Brett Dallas. And here they come at him again.
Oh, it wasn't convincing. He took that with his fingertips about 2 inches from the ground. He never even jumped off the ground.
Johnson is harried out of it again by this excellent St. Helens pack. Well, Phil Clark, if St. Helens are to win this, I think Steve-O's hit the nail on the head. It's the pack that will have won it for them.
Yeah, although in the first 20 minutes of this second half, I thought Wigan certainly toughed up, although hang on a minute.
Yes, it's Renoff, but he's dragged to the ground by Iro. Oh, Renoff didn't like that.
Stupid play. And it'll be Renoff that will get penalised.
Well, Iro ripped the head guard off.
Iro ripped the head guard off. He went on the second attempt. But 99.9%, the guy who retaliates has a penalty against him. Unless the touch judge has seen something we haven't seen. He went for the headgear, pulled it off. Now, it used to be a penalty if you rip the headgear off. I don't think they've changed.
Kevin Iro's got 10 minutes in the bin.
Yep, professional foul, and I think that Renouf will join in for retaliation.
Iro goes to the bin, and what will the referee do about Steve Renoff?
Well, surely he's got to go.
Steve, mate.
Yep.
You've got to go. I had the penalty for you. Right, well, you've retaliated.
Even though that Wigan will get the penalty. Well, a good combination between the touch judge on that far side and the official in the middle. And the heart will be pumping in Stuart Raper's body, even though he's lost one of his key players, who, to be fair, hasn't been a star tonight. And that silly play really from Iro in the first place. Even more stupid from Renouf to get involved.
It just shows you the passion that this match produces, because it's very rare that you see Iro and Renouf involved in anything. But they've been involved there, and so they're both down now to 12 men aside. Cowie is held. Wigan got the penalty, remember, that's why they're in this position with Farrell. Within 4 metres, we'll get back to Phil Clark shortly. Let's see how this develops. Lamb. Good ball, Betts. Oh!
Spotted.
Cunningham was waiting for him, but he got the ball away. Cowie, he also got the ball away. Newton, they're keeping it alive, Wigan. They've got to take the gamble. It's with Farrell. Back it goes to Radlinski. Radlinski to attack down the left-hand side. Give it then to Simon Horton.
Pretty high there. Bit of Shields really went over the top on Horton.
Still 2 to go. It's with Adrian Lamb. Back on the inside.
Oh, it was a try gone begging. Was it forward? It was a planned move.
It's Wigan's head and feed.
Well, I'm not so sure. I don't think Wayne McDonald got a touch to that.
And it's a penalty now to Wigan because someone said something to the referee.
Well, there's plenty of time. 13 minutes remaining. Do they run for the power play? I think I would.
I think they've got to.
10 points is a bridge too far.
Well, this is not the decision to give the penalty. It's when Iro got sin-binned. That was Ian Millwood's reaction to that. Not the reaction to the penalty that's just been given, which will gift Andy Farrell 2 more points. I just wonder why they haven't gone that broke on this set of 6.
Well, obviously the message has got out from Stuart Raper. I could see Andy Farrell looking towards the sidelines, and
24-16, 12 minutes to go. Farrell's penalty. I'm with you. I think they might have gone.
Had they gone for the 6 on offer, yeah.
Yep. Still, we don't play it. We just talk about it.
And a lot of people may be thankful for that, and maybe a lot of people not so.
Well, particularly when it's 12 aside, there's a bit more room out there, isn't there? Anyway, it's academic now because the kick's been taken. We've got just over 12 to go, and this is Cowie. And we're going to try to dig deep. Will they snatch something out of this match? Let's go back to Phil. We know he's not the best tipster, but Phil, can they snatch something?
Well, they can, although I think the sympathy of those two players, Wigan have come off the worst because Stephen Off was probably one of their best strike options to score and get them back into the game. Wigan still in possession here now. We wait for this decision. They've toughened up so much in the second half. Saints had a couple of chances to hit Wigan with a killer blow and put a try on, but improved defence on their own line has certainly kept them in the game. Now they get possession and things get interesting. They're given another chance here with 12 men. A bit more space. Do Wigan have the speed outside on the back against the Saints side? Can they get the ball to Dallas?
Interesting reaction there from David Furley. He was seeming to say there that he didn't touch it, but the touch judge said he did. So Wigan have the possession. Horton gobbled up by Sculthorpe. Here's Betts. He takes the tackle of Shields.
If Saints do run out winners tonight, the coach in Millwall will certainly put it down to the work in the forwards, but their defence has been superb.
Shields has had a big game too. This is Ferner. Ferner offloads to Newton. He gets it away to Lamb, and Lamb will attack the line. Not for long.
They've kept him quiet well. But you see there again, Wigan not having a lot of help with people running off the football. That'll be a knock-on. That was dragged by a Saints player. This will be head and feet to Wigan. The crowd won't like it here, I can assure you.
You're right, they don't like it.
Now did Ferner have control of that? Either way. Certainly Ferner went for it, and perhaps it could have been given that Ferner had knocked on first, but
that's not how Stuart
gone away. Yeah.
Read it. Here's Johnston. He's away from Hoppy again. Shields was there though. Now it's Dallas. Cassidy's the dummy half. Lamb. The runners Cowie.
Now then, what can Farrell conjure up? They've kept him under control.
This is Newton. Newton to Cassidy, just on. Again, the St Helens defence scrambles him to the floor. They've got 2 left. The dab is for Radlinski to chase, but that's far too deep.
Just didn't get the right option. That says it all.
He's going through the agonies. He had the ecstasy here in June when his team won by the odd point in 57.
Still plenty of time. Both these sides are capable of scoring 2-3 tries in the space of 10 minutes.
It's a match that would grace Old Trafford, and the grand final is on Saturday, October the 13th. Information line at Super League Europe 0113 244 114 9 a.m. Monday. Kick-off 6:30 at Old Trafford. If you need anything else to find out about the big day, there's your number.
Good work again by Sculthorpe. Okay, he's playing standoff out there tonight, but he's been utilised as just an extra forward. And look at the metres forward that they've gained in just 3 rushes.
And this is Yonkers who's getting them ever closer.
Going for the power play. I'm not so sure they've been better served with going for the 1 point. But as I say, Eddie, anything normal, you can't point at this team. The Saints, abnormal, do everything completely against the book.
Yes, normality is not in their dictionary at Knowsley Road. Well, Wigan have got a little over 8 minutes to rest this back. And to be fair, apart from the opening 6 or 8 minutes when they went 6-0 up, they've been second best. Newton.
Good work from Nicol. Stuck to him like a limpet mine. He had to as well.
The lines are still open for your man of the match, folks. That's the numbers. This is Betts. Whoa, big collision with Shields. Nicol and Betts. Betts wants to get on with it. It's on the last. Here's Farrell. Long ball then from Lamb. And Farrell's running it. It goes round the corner to Horton. Horton's still on his feet.
Can't get rid of it. He was trying his best. Not noted for offloading though, Simon Horton. Made his name by just crashing onto the football, running out wide. Hard man to stop, but Saints got to him yet again.
Here goes Hall. Steve Hall takes on Radlinski. Not many beat him for speed out wide. But St Helens racing forward again with Wellens. Horton with an important tackle. That was the game breaker.
But look how quickly they play the ball.
Here's Cunningham.
They've got Wigan on the back foot. That was a mile forward.
This is Sculthorpe, tackled again by Radlinski. Cunningham! And he's still looking and foraging. Penalty, St Helens, not standing square, Wigan.
He played the advantage. Well, this will be surely up the jumper time.
Well, I think they might go for two.
I'm not so sure. I think they might just... you can see there that Radlinski had just moved off the mark. And they're going to play the power play.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll kick backwards, which he will. That'll soak up a few more seconds.
Ball's over the top of the stands.
And I bet they can't find one straight away. Well, they have. Fair credit to the... Usually it disappears for 5 to 10 seconds.
This is Nicol. Hasn't he had a big game tonight, considering he didn't train yesterday? He was the victim of flu.
All the pack have.
Cunningham. Wellens for the hat-trick.
Oh, so close.
It was Lamb's tackle again. Cunningham. On the bounce it goes to Peter Shields. Shields tries to spin away from Dennis Betts. Hoppy. Dummy half. And Farrell and Cowie keep him out again.
Will they go early for the one?
Cunningham's going for four.
Whoa. Now the nose banging back. I can't see anybody.
No.
They've got a power play.
With Sculthorpe. Dabs it to the in-goal area. There's Carney. Is a race on to get out of trouble. They can't. Cunningham forced him dead.
As I say, they don't do the normal, do they? At 24-16, any coach worth his salt would have got the message out. But not Ian Millwood. Do what you feel. Do what's best. And they've done it well.
It was a dropout that was aimed for the sideline. It didn't come. And Yonkers will score. Yonkers will win the match for St Helens. The shallow drop kick didn't come off. They gobbled up the possession out wide. And young Timmy Yonkers, the Irish international, who scored a try late on in the grand final at Old Trafford last year, has pushed St Helens ever closer to the theatre of dreams this year. Yonkers win the try.
They had to go for the gamble. It was spinning all over the place. Stankovic did well. Neat little step. Excellent combination. And Yonkers has sealed it. Don't worry about that. It was a big gamble. Millwood put the big fella in the centres, but he showed skills equal to any three-quarter in the world. And Ian Millwood, like I have said so often during this game, they like to do something different. He said, watch out for something different. But this winning ain't anything different. This is normal.
Well, I mentioned the grand final try. He also scored in the cup here against Wigan in February. And he scored here tonight to clinch two priceless Super League points. Sculthorpe. It's academic. It's 30 points to 16. I think it's all over now, Wigan. And Stuart Raper knows it. 30 points to 16. A memorable night for Saints again.
It was the last throw of the dice, and he knows it. The Stuart Raper, the drop out underneath the sticks. Andy Farrell went for the touchline, hoping that they could get the head and feet from the scrum. We've seen it happen quite a few times, especially with Henry Paul at Bradford. And Wigan tried it on that occasion, but Stankovic came up with a football to offload to Yonkers.
3.5 minutes to go then.
Oh, he's lost it.
He has lost it. He doesn't like the decision.
Well, he feels that it went backwards anyway, but if you lose it in the tackle like that, well, do they ever need a quick try here? Not many opportunities for Adrian Lamb. Can he utilise the speed now? Will he go on his own? Or will he use Johnson? You can see Johnson 15 standing out of this way. They've gone the other way.
It's with Farrell. Wellens, brilliant again tonight. Radlinski, still Radlinski. 10 metres away. Renoff back out to Sinbin. The pass on the bounce is hacked forward. Offside. Offside.
Doesn't matter. Hoppy will be no rush for this. Neither will Ian Millward. He knows that he's got a big enough margin. The clock will definitely go against them, even if Wigan come up with a 6-pointer here.
They were all offside. This is Cowie, dumps it over to Newton. Wigan looking for consolation.
Oh, he wasn't looking there. It came off the head. He went backwards.
Radlinski has it back for Wigan.
Yet again, this defence has been outstanding.
It's going to be St Helens night. Cassidy, Stankovic and Yonkers. Cassidy held eventually. Listen, this crowd here, they're going balmy. Betts. Good play from Betts. Ferner in support.
Well, we've praised other coaches in Super League for having to go through certain periods without star players, but none more so than this man, Ian Millward. And yet he keeps coming up with the goods, doesn't he?
That's Neil Cowie charging towards the line. They've still got a couple left, Wigan, looking for that consolation. They're not going to get it.
No, it's a knock-on, and that'll be head and feet to Wigan. The opportunity there, fairly, and you see he just loses it. So, still the opportunity. But everyone here, and I'm sure you viewers at home, realise that no way in the world will be enough time for Wigan to drag back this deficit. They may get the 6.
They're looking for consolation with Farrell. That's knocked back by Sculthorpe. It's play on, and St Helens will end the match with ball in hand, and who knows what else.
Well, Andy Farrell must be absolutely furious. There was about 2.5, 3 seconds there when he was holding the ball, looking for someone to help him and to support. They've been outplayed. Wigan have not played as a unit. Saints have. And what a unit it has been. They've mixed and matched. They've had all sorts of players going into the dummy half. There we see Hoppy. They've had forwards, they've had wingers, they've had centres, they've been full-back. They've completely confused this Wigan outfit. And they fully deserve the spoils.
Here's Wayne McDonald. They're counting down to a famous win. The siren will go as soon as this ball goes dead. It's in the air. It's out on the full. Stuart Raper has been beaten at Knowsley Road. Ian Millward has conjured up another win from nowhere. Yonkers' try at the death sealed it. One of the men in David Waite's squad, and there is another. It was billed as the night of Cunningham and Johnson. Well, Johnson got on the try list for Wigan, but it has been St Helens' night and Kieran Cunningham's night. They have closed the gap on their nearest and dearest rivals, and it opens the door for Bradford now at Leeds tomorrow, if Bradford can beat the men from Headingley to claim top spot by 2 points. The end of a highly emotional week for Kieran Cunningham, I'm sure. He has been involved in a side that has beaten Wigan again here at Knowsley Road. This is the 60th meeting in the past 28 years, and it's a sweet, sweet night to be a St Helens fan. They've beaten Wigan by 30 points to 16. Outstanding effort from the champions, and their forward pack in particular, and Sonny Nicol, well, what a game he had, considering he was on a sickbed with flu just 24 hours ago. Well, still to come tonight, following us at 10, more wrestling action, WWF Late Night Raw. Sky Sports 2 now, we've got live US Tour Golf Day 2 of the Buick Open, and at 10 o'clock Sky Sports 3, 90 minutes with Kirsty Gallagher and Matt Lorenzo as they bring you previews of the weekend's football action. And coming up tomorrow, we have two more cracking matches from both sides of the world. West Tigers against Newcastle is live in the morning at 10:30, and Leeds Bradford. Not a bad second course after all this. It's live from Headingley tomorrow night at 6 on Sky Sports 3. So Kieran Cunningham leaves the field, and Cunningham and Johnson embrace. The two men who've grabbed all the headlines this week. It's Cunningham's night, though.
Watch and win with Sky Box Office. Want to be an X-Man? Every time you order the X-Men on Sky Box Office between August the 1st and August the 28th, you'll automatically be entered into a free prize draw to win the chance to enter the 21st century world of Ultra Zone, the ultimate laser adventure in the Californian city of San Diego. Check out Sky Movies Active for more X-Men information. Watch and win with Sky Box Office.
Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan in the unstoppable summer blockbuster Rush Hour 2, rated 12.
Get on your nerves. I know a song that will get on your nerves. Get on your nerves. Get on your nerves. I know a song that will get on your nerves. I know a song that will get on your nerves. I know a song that will get on your nerves. But you don't.
Fridge, how can something so tasty be so thick?
We got you this. Happy birthday, son. Nice one. Isn't it great when you get more than you expected? Process your film with Kodak pictures and get a presentation box, index print, option of a picture CD, and up to £2 off.
Play Suck It and See at Burger King with a chance to win prizes. But only if your straw changes colour. There's 1 in 4 chances to win, so suck it and see.
At MFI, there's up to 50% off bedrooms. Good. Plus, choose a second bedroom at half sale price. Even better. But hurry, because it ends August 15th.
No, I don't think I have a window for you today. I got a feng shui consultant coming. Oh, that's him now. Gotta go.
Call me Zane. Let us begin. It's done.
The talk was football, football. The Arsenal, football, football. The Newcastle, football, football. And up the Spurs with football, football. The talk was football, football. The Arsenal, football, football. The Newcastle, football, football. And up the Spurs with football, football. Continue, my friends. Football, football. The Arsenal, football, football. And up the Spurs with the football, football.
Well, a comprehensive win by the Saints in the end. The champions showing true quality in a match of high quality. 30 points to 16. St Helens have won, and the man whose name is on that caption, Paul Sculthorpe, with a try and 3 goals, is the man of the match. He goes home with a Tissot watch, and also he is interviewed by Bill.
Congratulations, man of what was a very, very fierce match. There you go.
First of all, I'd thank Tissot for the prize. Yeah, it was a tremendous game. You know, Wigan are a form team in Super League at the moment. We knew it would be a big game. You know, we had a lot to prove after poor performance last week at Cass. You know, I think we've done ourselves and the fans proud.
And revenge must be sweet after what they did to you last time out.
Yeah, it was nice. You know, it was a close game last time. You know, both games that we played, you know, a draw and then Wigan win by 1 point. You know, the tremendous games to play in.
Thanks, Paul. Well done.
Cheers, Bill.
Eleanor Ferguson of Musselburgh up north of the border, and you're heading south for the grand final on October the 13th. I think you might be watching these two again. Mind you, there'll be a few clubs knocking around the top 5 who would dispute that, but you know, you never know. St Helens and Wigan always produce the goods on the big occasion. They did tonight, and Tony Smith is here from Huddersfield, our guest. And at the end of the day, Tony, the Saints were comprehensive winners. They outplayed Wigan in just about every department.
I sure did. The guy on the screen just then, the man of the match, took control of that game, and I thought Kieran Cunningham helped him out enormously. They just took control, and I don't think the guys from Wigan, the big names from Wigan, took control enough.
Yeah, they didn't shape up, but the pack, as Steve-O said on numerous occasions through the game, the St Helens forward pack, magnificent.
Yeah, they were. They went through the middle there, but I think it was all the defence that Wigan had to do. They just, you know, made far too many errors on the night. So when they got the ball later in the game, they just kept making more errors because of all the defence they've had to do.
Yes, they were tuckered out, weren't they, at the end, Steve-O? Wigan didn't have enough petrol left in the tank. And when you think, you know, they came here boasting the best record in Super League, 9 straight wins. That's all come to nothing tonight.
Yeah, they're a great side, and they were beaten by a better side. And this Ian Millwood, the coach, well, he brings a whole new meaning to team, doesn't he? Team effort, teamwork, and they certainly did that tonight. It was an amazing performance in as much that I think everybody got in there into the dummy half position during the course of the 80 minutes. In fact, it wouldn't have surprised me if the ball boy had gone out there and done his little bit. And also Kieran Cunningham, I think it was only fullback and wing that he didn't take a position sometime during the course of the night. Great effort, great team, and they deserve to be the club champions. Don't worry about that.
They do. Ian Millwood said there might be something just a little bit unusual from his team today, and we saw it the way he mixed and matched his forwards. And Cunningham, as Steve-O said, he played everywhere apart from wing and full-back. A wonderful effort, Phil Clark, from the Saints.
Tremendous versatility throughout the St Helens squad, and they just showed how well they can bounce back from a defeat last week. The end now of Wigan's winning streak. What sort of response will they come up with? And I thought really the second half scoreline of 8 points all probably showed that Wigan did improve in that second half. They gave themselves too much work to do, and it was a physical element really that Saints really dominated Wigan, playing the ball too quickly as you talked about and getting onto a roll, and Wigan just couldn't really handle the speed with which St Helens took the game to them. Probably the technique really of some of the St Helens players is very hard to highlight in the speed of the game, but the way they find the front and get up and quickly play the ball, it helps the flow of the way that they go, and they just love to play that type of game. On that sort of form, who backed them against lifting the trophy again this year?
Well, physical presence will obviously take somebody to the grand final. Would you bet against Saints, Steve-O?
No, without a doubt. I mean, the way that they play, they're on a roll, and when they get in this mood, especially when you're coming up to the semi-finals, I wouldn't back him with anybody's money. I'd back him with my money.
Fair enough. Well, there is still more to come from Wigan and Saints. They have to play each other again before the end of the season and before the playoffs. But we've got Australian Rugby League coming for you in the morning at 10:30 on Sky Sports 2. It's the West Tigers against Newcastle Knights. And then Saturday evening at 6 o'clock, Sky Sports 3. Not a bad second course after all this. The Rhinos and the Bulls will tangle. They'll lock horns at Headingley. Best of luck to Tony and the Huddersfield boys and their match against Salford on Sunday. Thanks for being here tonight. Bye-bye.